Okay, so welcome to Open Podcast, your gateway to the digital world. So, first of all, we have Joshua, the founder of RSS3 and Open. And so, first, Joshua, can you tell us about yourself? Give the audience a one-liner of who you are.
Um, hey guys, it's Josh here. As Jeff says, I'm the founder of RSS3 and now the lead open project as well. And basically, we work on data and compute for what we call heavy compute, right? And I think most of the familiar use cases for these is AI models and AI agents. And yeah, that's what we've been doing here.
All right. So, I want to dig a little bit into your personal experience. So I want to know, like, what brings you to the crypto world, and like, what's your career path like?
Oh, this is so much fun. So I kind of dropped out of college after sophomore year, and then worked on mostly social media stuff before starting RSS3, and actually partly AI, partly social media, but was really a long time ago. I think it was like around ten years ago. And then I think by doing applications, I gradually started to realize that the internet needs not just a good app, but something more infrastructural and fundamental to make things better. So I started to work on different stuff. And at the time when we were first working on RCS3, if any audience is as old as I am, you probably know RSS in the original days back, in 1997, and it became, basically the major information protocol, right? And then, so when we were starting RSS, we were trying to say, okay, can we do, a similar thing for open information in the new era of decentralization, right? And that's where we started. We started working on data. We started powering different stuff. And I think two of the most important things along the way, one was social medias, and the other was AI models, right? And around I think about 1.5 or 2 years ago, we started expanding to a bit more of compute as well, and that later on became open. And for me personally, I think I've been in decentralized web space for quite some time. Right now, I think it's 6 years something, and the majority of the team have been working on open source softwares for really long time. Say DIY God, who is really a key influencer in open source development, and also lots of team members are from these kind of backgrounds. So in a way, specifically for Web3, I think 5 6 years, but for source softwares and open web development, it's been a really long time.
It's very interesting. You've been working in the space for a long time, but you're actually pretty young, right?
Relatively, yeah.
Yeah, if you have like few words for people who's like turning into their 20s, what would you give them as an advice?
um, Try to be more bold, I'd say. I think in a way the world is imbued by people so much smarter than you,
Mm.
and make bold decisions. And it sounds like a cliche, but follow your heart is a good one.
Okay, follow your heart. I like that. All right,
Yeah.
let's hop into the meat. Let's get some info about RSS3. So we heard about the buzz around RSS3 calling itself the Bitcoin of data for data. But let's go
Mhm.
back to the beginning. So first of all, how does this vision start? And what's the big picture of the origin story? I think you brought a little bit up. But what inspired of the creation of this Bitcoin for data?
I think, continue to the point where, I was working on applications, and I started to realize that smaller applications, there is no possibility for them to compete with, large platforms. It's very different from, let's say, 1999, where, anyone could just basically make search engines, browsers, whatever, because information that time and data that time was free and permissionless, right? Most of what we create would be free to access for anyone, basically with access to the internet. And but things have been very different, right? And we saw this new possibility where a new generation of protocols or projects for data would technically or technologically be permissionless, and which is really important because when we look at what we call Web 2 right now, where centralized platforms and centralized service providers, they control most of the stuff. And for Web 1, in a way, it's, everyone controls their own websites in a different form. Web 3 basically provides a new type of framework where these kind of technologies can't be permissioned, right? If you look at Bitcoin, if you look at Ethereum, and we were seeing that things were, the same things were happening for information and data. So we thought it would be a really good time for us to start something that could make it work better. Because, opposed to Web 1, which, data were structured in a same way, HTML for basically all of the web data. Web 2, in Web 2 data were stored in very different ways, but it doesn't really matter because every platform was using their own data sets. But for Web 3, people are designing kind of different types of data streams, but there was gonna be no way for people to unify these data and use it in a very structured way. So we started working on this thing called RSS3, which is basically a decentralized network that constantly indexes data and structures data into a standardized way. So any application would be using it, very smoothly, right? Because it's very different from Web 1, where applications would be using the data very smoothly without any of the structuring. Or for Web 2, there's no way for you to access that data. So Web 3 is different, so it's gonna be in a different structure in a different way. And in short, RSS3 does something that's kind of similar to Google. It indexes data, it structures data, but it doesn't really directly serve users with the search engine of itself, right? So it powers these kind of different things, search engines, social medias, AI models, and agents, and have them to kind of serve their users. And that's how we came to the idea of RSS3. Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned about Google. I was just interested that what's your point of view on Google in the next, say, 10 years? Like, because there's a lot of OpenAI coming out, ChatGPT
Yeah.
coming out. Do you think that they're going to be replaced in terms of search engine?
I think more importantly, it's the question whether search engines would be replaced by something else, right? And the other one was that if it is to be replaced by something else, would that still be Google's product? Or at
Hmm.
least Google is going to be a major player in it. Because right now, OpenAI does really good for ChatGPT, and lately there's DeepSeek, right, who claims to be developing large language models at a much lower cost. But I think in general, Google still has a really big advantage in terms of information gathering, information structuring, and at the same time, they really have good engineers. So I would imagine that even if something comes up that's good enough to replace search engines, Google's gonna still be a major player there. And yeah, and also I think strategically, at least Google still has Android, right? So they can easily get Android users to be using whatever Google has to offer. So yeah, I think it should be fine for them. Yeah.
Ah, okay, got it. That's good. Because Google is one of our partner.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So let's dive into RS3 as a data infrastructure. So we have the backstory now. Let's open the hood and see the engine. So RS3 has been hailed as our AI data infrastructure, but what does that mean in practice? walk us through like the technical like nutshell, especially the scope of data sources that you're tapping into.
Yeah, so I think right now we look at the data landscape in a completely different way. There are Web 1 data, which is basically unified data but scattered on billions of websites. Is Web 2 data that's, permission, half permissioned, that are stored in different platforms, but sometimes they're not refusing or rejecting access, right? External access. And then there's Web3 data that's basically on lots of decentralized networks, blockchains or not, and also some of the specific logics within these networks, like smart contracts. So with these kind of different things, we do need to cover all of them in order for us to make it, make ours just be the kind of like the comprehensive data network, right? And so technologically, it goes around all these different platforms, projects, and indexing information that would be useful to, a potential product, right? Or let's just say if it's serving a AI agent that cares about crypto news, then it's gonna go through websites, go through some of the Web 2 platforms like Twitter, YouTube, and go to basically blockchains itself directly, and also some of the decentralized social platforms like Farcaster and Mastodon, and try to gather as many information as it could and feed it to the potential user, which is an agent here, right? And that's basically how it works. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I guess because we mentioned, I mean, we all know that the data is the digital oil or say digital gold. So it's very important now that we are able to provide quality data to different AI agents or agent platforms, etc. So we've talked conceptually about how RSS3 is making data more accessible and AI ready. Now let's talk about the real use case. Say if I'm a builder utilizing Virtual's game framework, because ours is,
Hmm.
as I know, is partnering with Virtual. And so
Yeah.
what solution or use cases could I start building as a builder with
Mhm.
RSS3 AI data network?
Of course, I think basically it gives virtual, so the RC3 data network gives virtual agents an access to basically all the data available on the internet, right? Across Web 1, 2, and 3, and at the same time structured in a, in a way that could be easily digested by these agents.
Mhm.
I think one of the examples is that they could potentially be building, let's say, a hyperliquid trader agent, right? And the agent's going to be able to kind of predict project momentums, according to different social data, and try to make better decisions, right? And it could be helping, let's just say, a Pendle agent that manages a vault or treasury and could maximize use through some kind of DeFi strategies, right? And it also could be, let's say, powering a party market agent that gets real-time cross-network social sentiments and also detects some of the inefficiencies between different markets. So these are some of the examples here, but I definitely think developers are going to figure out something more because Virtuals itself already provides a really great launchpad for agents. Now, Game provides a framework for agents to be born, and now basically RC3 provides all the resources that agents are needing for completing their tasks. And I think even though if an agent is not doing a specific task here, the data network is gonna fuel them with the latest crypto news and basically some of the most important updates in the industry, and that's gonna make the whole ecosystem for agents much better as they simply from a user perspective they get smarter.
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. So, you mentioned three different use cases. The first one is to do trading on Hyperliquid to
Yeah.
provide market sentiments to give you better idea of how the market is and to make decisions based on
Yeah.
that. and also there's a Pendle trading bot.
It's kind of like a vault or treasury management, yield managing.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yield management bot agent
Yeah.
on as opposed to on Pendle. And also last one I think I'll be the most interested in, which is like prediction market, because I'm basically a prediction market enthusiast, or in
Mhm.
short is gambler, especially the social aspect of it. But beyond casual like betting with friends, I'm very interested in how RSS3 can power or augment the whole experience of prediction market to make it more precise. I guess it will be
Mhm.
like to give retail users more information when they're making decisions. Yeah, and so let's talk about like future outlooks. I think one month ago, Virtual expand to from base to Solana. I'm just wondering like if there is any plan for RS3 to do the same thing.
Uh, let's just say stay tuned. Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
yeah. Let's just yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. So stay tuned, guys.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Yeah.
It might be going on Solana, which because Solana, I guess it has a lot of mind shares, a lot of meme coins, a lot of liquidity on there. So
I think it's more of a yeah. I think in general it's more of a multi-chain strategy there, right? Because we do kind of support a lot of different networks before for data indexing, data structuring, and it just makes sense for us to get more progress in terms of building multi-chain. Yeah.
got it, got it. Yeah. So RSS2 basically now is providing for different chains, like Ethereum or like a lot of different big chains, Base,
Mm.
etc.
Yeah, yeah. Supports a lot of different chains. Yeah.
Got it. So on top of that, is there any like future outlook or roadmap for RSS3? Give us a little alpha on that.
Um, I mean, we have been constantly working on how we could index most of the useful data,
Mm-hmm.
uh, make the network as decentralized as possible, and find as many use cases for them as possible. So
Mm-hmm.
these three directions always, right? And I think more importantly is about the third, how we find more use cases, right? So if you are kind of like a community member for RC3 from way back in 2020, I think initially most of the use cases were in social, right? And then I think starting late 2021, we started working on AI agents and mostly AI models back in 2021. And later on in 2023, there's language models, and we started working with them as well. And I think the world still needs more structured and unified data to power more advanced intelligence. And of course, advanced other use cases. Let's just say decentralized scientific simulations, right? So I think something 1 or 2 months ago, we did publish a very interesting experiment which involved open network as well.
Right.
That fused the data we indexed from RC3 to conduct a DNA sequencing comparison, right? And I think these kind of things would be really interesting in terms of how we could expand the use cases for the data, because like you said, it's kind of like liquid gold or liquid fuel, right? And you can possibly fuel it into a lot of different things. But agents and AI models, from my perspective, would still be the dominant use cases in the next couple of years, as if we think of how these things work, they are kind of like human cognitions.
Mm-hmm.
I think back in, decades ago when people were first developing or inventing the first Turing machine, or, in a way, the first computers, people were trying to, in a way, mimic how human brains work, right? And, if you look at what people do these days, it's constantly gathering and processing information because we have the sensory system, right? We have eyes, ears, mouth, all the sensory system. Models, agents, they don't have it naturally. So we got to, we feed it to them, right? It's kind of like how we are constantly fed with information we could gather in a three-dimensional space that we could digest, we need to make that possible for machines, models, agents, and these kind of like artificial cognitions. And I think on that part, we're going to do a lot more things.
Okay. Oh, that's a very interesting aspect that I've never thought about. It's like picturing the machine as in getting information in different dimension, and we're trying to make that happen with machine as well.
Yeah.
Okay, very bullish on RSS3 in terms of even if the narrative changes, if AI agents are turning into a different specific region, data is still there. You still need data.
Yeah.
So RSS is always
Yeah.
going to be there. Perfect. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's go into our next round, which is our lightning round. So I'm gonna ask around 10 questions and
Okay.
just say yes or no or a short answer.
Okay.
All
This is
right,
fun.
let's do it. Yeah. So Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Uh, both. This is really a hard one.
All right,
Uh,
got you.
the short answer, both. Yeah.
Oh, you gotta choose
No.
both?
Okay, I gotta choose one.
Yeah, you gotta choose one.
Um, Bitcoin.
Okay, Bitcoin. Bitcoin or Solana?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin or RSS3?
Um, wow. These are some really tough ones. RC3.
Okay, RSS3. So if you could build only one AI tool, is it
Mhm.
gonna be personal assistant or a creative generator?
Personal assistant.
Okay. So which excites you more? Is it AI creates art or AI excel healthcare?
Excel.
Okay, healthcare. So do you predict AI will rule the world one day in our lifetime? Yes or no?
No.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
is the AI and Web3 space currently, do you think it's in a bubble? Yes or no?
Um, Valuation wise, I don't really know. Narrative wise, yes. Tech wise, no.
Okay. Tech-wise, no. Valuation-wise, uncertain. And
Hmm. And
value
narrative wise, yes.
narrative, yes, narrative.
Yeah, people are basically promising things that they can't kind of deliver. And not sure if the valuation is justified, but tech wise, it's actually I think it's the opposite of a bubble. It's very bad.
Yeah, it's not there yet. That's why the narrative can be supported by the tech.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So do you think there's going to be a meaningful AI regulation arrive in the next 5 years? Yes or no?
Yes.
Next 5 years? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about next 3 years?
Yeah. Um, well, if any, I mean, like regulations from any government, right? If any government counts, then yes.
Okay. Okay.
Massive ones, I don't know. Someone's gonna make some kind of weird things, be the sort of like the trailblazer for a regulation. Anyways, yeah, someone's gonna do
Uh-huh.
that. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So last question. What does the next bull run, oh, I mean this bull run end? Is it gonna be Q2 2025 or Q4 2025?
I'll go with Q4.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I actually have a lot of speakers saying Q2 because they think that after Trump's election,
Mhm.
he's gonna
Oh
underdeliver
yeah.
because there's a lot of different regulation he has to, be taking his attention on, putting his attention on. So he's not gonna put too much attention on crypto.
That
But yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. But I think my answer is based upon two things. One is that I do think some of the projects, and especially in AI related stuff, would have more mature projects and products by Q4.
Oh,
And
okay.
second is that although I think politics, and especially politics in certain countries, could make huge decisions, huge effects on how the market goes. I still have the sort of like the understanding, or like in a way, it's the hope that the crypto industry does not solely rely on that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, even though that might be true for some time, but I still kind of like wish for the opposite. Yeah.
Got it, got it. So you think that part of the crypto should be like it's attached from the politics, so we might be able to thrive on ourselves despite the American government.
Well, that's my hope. So I'm trying to be more optimistic here. But yeah,
Hopefully,
things haven't. Yeah, things haven't been though good recently. But I'm still optimistic here.
yeah, that's hope for Q4. I'm voting for Q4 too. So yeah, thank you, Joshua. So today we talked about our
Thank
sister
you so much, Ben.
solution to provide fully decentralized and verifiable data for AI. And also we mentioned the partnership with Virtual, and
Hmm.
it definitely opens up a door for the builders and developers who want to leverage on top of that platform,
Yeah.
which will be able to leverage on top of our data.
Mm.
And it'll be able to do sentiment analysis. It'll be able to create different agents, prediction market agents, depth AI agents, which is awesome. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
happy to see how that goes, and we'll love to see more use case coming out in the future.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, so last but not least, where can we find you and how can we, know more about our history?
Yeah, I think so. I'm always on Twitter, so you can always find me on Twitter, Joshua RS3. And if you have any questions, you can ask me from DM or send me an email at joshua@rss3.io.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing the insights about our history and about data and about yourself.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.